Hi, in this video we'll look at winter care for your container grown Japanese maple. Now all of our Japanese maples are grafted onto Acer palmatum rootstock, which would be the most common rootstock you would find when it comes to a grafted Japanese maple. It's ideal for the container medium, and of course it's very hardy. They can withstand temperatures of minus 18 Celsius, which would be the equivalent of 0 Fahrenheit. Now, we have most of our container grown Japanese maples out in the garden, in landscape applications, but we do put a few in our greenhouse during the winter just to store them away and tuck them away as we do change the garden parameters. There's a couple of things we do with all of our container maples which helps ensure they have a nice relaxing rest over the winter. Two things. We top dress the pots with 2 to 3 inches of a medium loam bark mulch, which would be 5 to 10 centimeters if you look at it from a metric scale, which really protects the shallow fibrous roots. And another thing we do is often, whether they're in a greenhouse or they're sitting outside, you'll see the foliage after it's turned color. It will dry and just sit on the tree. We always pull these leaves off as it ensures no unwanted insects will nest over the winter, and it's just looks nice and you see the nice structure of the tree over the winter months. Now everything we do with a container grown tree we can also do with any of the garden landscape Japanese maples, as far as removing dry leaves, and we can top dress with a little bark mulch as well, even though that's not really necessary. So I'll give you a couple of examples of how to top dress the soil and how to remove the leaves to put your trees to sleep for the winter. And also remember, if they are not exposed to any moisture, make sure you water them once a month so the pots and the roots don't dry out. Here we go. Here we have a Japanese maple Pixie. It's a dwarf variety. You have seen this particular tree in one of my previous pruning videos when it used to sit in a much larger 2 by 2 foot cedar container. This spring we did remove it from that container as it was getting quite old, and we did a major root prune, cutting the tree way back and then dropping it into a 15-gallon container. Now we'll leave it in this container for 1 or 2 years until we decide what kind of new pot we'd like to eventually find and make its final resting home. Now, as you can see, the fibrous roots of the tree are sitting right on the surface of the soil. Now this is where you really do want to protect your trees during the winter. Just give them a little extra insulation by adding a nice bark mulch. This is a finer loam. A coarser mix is fine if that's all you have, but something that you can just throw on top of the container. And again, 2 to 3 inches, 5 to 10 centimeters of soil, and that will really help protect the surface of the tree. So we simply place the bark mulch on top, and there we go. We've got a nice layer of padding that will protect the tree for the whole winter. And as mentioned, we'll water them approximately once a month just to ensure the pots don't dry. Here we've got a weeping variety, which is the viridis. Now it has a green leaf all summer, then it does turn into a nice orange-red tone, but as you can see now, the discoloration almost turning a brown, and the leaves really haven't fallen off. So basically what we need to do is we just hold on to a branch and we just pull straight back. All of those dry leaves are going to fall right off. And again, I always hold on to the back of the branch just to keep it a little more rigid so you don't accidentally pull too hard and snap a branch. But these leaves fall off very, very easy and clean up the tree. So I'll just go through right now and take the rest off. Takes no time at all. I generally go from the top down. If they feel like they're not wanting to come off, then just hold back a couple of weeks as they haven't dried sufficiently in order for you to do this quick little process. Now, as you can see, the leaves are almost all off now. Another little detail that creeps up is something called dieback. Now, you can get some branches that will die off basically. Often it's young shoots, and at the very tip you'll see them turn dark brown or black. Well, they just haven't had a chance to harden up prior to the cold weather, and that's very common. So don't let anything like that alarm you. Also, you can see, for example, here I have a dead branch. Here's another one. Those you can just pick off with your finger, and that is also a fairly common occurrence, as some of the branches do die off during the summer when they're not exposed to sunshine and just natural decomposition within the tree itself. I generally pick all those off. There's only a couple on this tree. There's another one right here, and again, just snap them off with your finger. You don't need to grab your pliers. Hang on to a branch, break them off. And then, as far as actual pruning of the tree goes, of course I'll wait until spring, until the warmer weather is here, and then give it its spring pruning. So there we go. There's the leaves removed, and the tree will be resting until spring. It's top dressed with a couple inches of bark mulch, and that's all there's to it. As you can see here, we've just simply applied a couple inches of fir-based bark mulch over top of the maples and all the other plants in the garden. And you can hear the snow geese above me wandering, currently flying south. I would guesstimate there are well over 1,000. Quite spectacular.